everyone. So we are super excited to talk to you about the Temple Rome Entry Year program. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this presentation and to talk with us. We will be covering a timeline from the minute that you reserve your place into the program, all your next steps for the summer, to your transition to our main campus in Philadelphia. So we'll be covering everything in between for your entire first year at Temple University. We have seen all of your questions, so we are prepared to answer all of them. Please feel free to use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You can type in any questions that you have, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. So feel free to just write down the thought, type it out, and we will cover everything at the end. So I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Emily. I am the person all the way on the right. I am the External Relations Coordinator here at Temple University Rome. I actually graduated from Temple University, and I was a student at Temple University Rome. I ended up staying in Rome actually after I graduated, and I fell in love with the city. I fell in love with Temple University Rome and all the people there. So I absolutely, love being here, and I could talk all day about the beautiful city that we live in. And I'm going to introduce Faye, or she can introduce herself. She is the Dean of Temple University Rome. Faye?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon from Philadelphia, or from wherever you're calling in from. I am the interim director and acting dean at Temple University Rome, and I've been there since last May. My successor is going to be starting May 1st, so you will be dealing with another dean, and her name is Amelia Zankina, who may or may not be on this broadcast as well. If she is, we're glad to have you, Amelia, and we very much look forward to having all the students meet you next fall. We are very excited to welcome you to Temple University Rome. For those of you whom I won't get a chance to meet in person, I actually will be back on main campus starting this summer, so that when you come back to Temple Rome, we will have a chance to meet. I am a lawyer for Temple University. I'm senior counsel before I was the interim dean. And I myself studied abroad my junior year in Rome, not with Temple University, but another university. And it is a magical city. And this is a really special program. And the two groups that I know that have gone through it already are really excited about welcoming you as well to their fold. They're really a special group, and we're glad to have you. And I'm going to introduce you to Francesca Cuccovillo, who's our Associate Director of Student Life and head of the Rome Entry Year program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Faye. My name is Francesca Cuccovillo. I'm the Associate Director for Student Life and the Rome Entry Year program. I've been working for Temple Rome for 4 years now, and together with my team, I am one of the point people for any student life related issue, including student safety, student well-being, student housing. And I also have been working since the very beginning to the Rome Entry Year program. And in that capacity, I also serve as the freshman academic advisors. So very happy to be on this webinar today, and welcome to you all.
So I just want to give you a little background about what to expect. Your first year, obviously, as a TRE student, you would start in Rome. You spend the entire year with us in Rome, and you basically are working with a smaller group of students, and you're working more closely with faculty. It's really a wonderful introduction, not only to global education, but to Temple University. Obviously, after that, you go back to main campus if you should so choose. That's the usual plan. In year 3, typically students can travel abroad again if they want to come back to us in Rome. We'd love to have them. We also have a campus in Tokyo, Japan, so that's also an option, as are other options as well if you want to study abroad. And then the 4th year, you go back and you graduate to follow your dreams. And we help you along. We can help you with any plans that you want. Actually, one of our TRE students this year is thinking actually about coming back in her 2nd year. And it depends on what you study. We will help you with that and those decisions. And we're very much open to having you forge your own path and to be with us at Temple University.
Okay, so I know that you are very interested in knowing what real life in Rome looks like and what the next steps will be. So let's give a look at that. So what's next? Of course, deposit deadline is May 1st. So it's very important that you keep that deadline in mind. There is also still time to apply for the Bridge Scholarship, which is a scholarship for Temple Rome prospect students and helps covering housing costs. And for that, the deadline is April 1st. The deposit deadline is particularly important because that triggers the Italian visa process. So once you deposit, you will receive all the information you need to apply for the Italian visa, the Italian student visa that you will need to spend your year with us at Temple Rome. So they will come just after the deposit deadline. And then of course, we'll ask you about your travel information. There are a number of travel forms that you will need to fill out. And then another step will be to request your housing. We will cover that in a few minutes, but there is usually a housing questionnaire that allows us to match you with the best roommate or the best host family that you can have here in Rome. Of course, it is important to remember to send your final transcript so that we can make sure that any credits that you have can be transferred to Rome. There is also a placement assessment that students usually take before starting their freshman year. And that is usually later in June. And then all of our students, all Temple students, not just Temple Rome, all of our Temple students go through a Temple preview, which is an online orientation that helps students get familiar with Temple and with Temple Rome. And then the final thing, the final step is to connect on Facebook with the other students. So we usually create a Facebook group where students can socialize and start meeting each other and make friends before they meet in Rome. Okay, so arrivals and orientation. Arrival date is August 30th. And so from the moment you land at the airport, especially if you are not traveling with your parents, Temple Rome will assist you throughout the process of getting settled down in your new home, in your new city. So we'll pick you up from the airport and we'll take you to your housing, again, whether that is Residence Candia or your host family. And then after that, there is a week. We have a very robust orientation schedule. It's a week long. And it really covers a lot, well, I will say all aspects of the program. We have a first day, an arrival aperitivo, where also the family are welcome. So if you're traveling with your family, you can, we invite you and your family to come over to campus and join us for the aperitivo, which is an opportunity to meet our staff, our faculty, and the other students and families of the program. And then usually the second day, we go over all of the aspects of the Temple Rome program. We go over the student manual, we talk about academic standards, and all the policies that are important for you to know to start and be part of our community. The third day, we usually have a tour. All of our students take a tour with a tour guide of this in the city of Rome. And usually we focus in the area around campus. Temple Rome is located in a very central area of the city, beautiful place. So the third day is usually the time when students get familiar with the city. And then we also go over all aspects and all important issues related to health, wellness, how to be safe in Rome, and not just through a more traditional orientation, but we also do a lot of activities so that students can meet with each other and start to make friends. So, and this goes from speed friending activities to walking tours with tour guides, with our faculty, with our staff, and tiramisu extravaganza nights, and all activities can help students to make friends and mingle. We also help students through their permit to stay procedure. The permit to stay, it's a legal requirement that all foreigners must go through once they arrive here in Rome to be a legal resident here in Italy. And we help students through that, so you don't have to worry about it. And then finally, on our last day of orientation, we take all of our students to the countryside of Italy for this beautiful day trip where we go to the medieval town of Todi, beautiful town, and we all have a huge multi-course meal lunch all together. This is one of our oldest tradition, and one of the most memorable moments for our students. Okay, so let's talk about the housing option. So as a freshman at Temple Rome, you can choose between two housing options. Both of them are university facilitated housing, and one is our residence Candia, and the other one is to choose to live with an Italian family. So both options are great, and I think in general, our freshman students, we have seen that they have chosen 50-50. So there is not one that I prefer or I will advise over the other. But of course they are different. And I think, you know, there are pros and cons to both of them. So of course, for the residents, if you're looking for a more independent lifestyle, that can be the one for you. Of course, the residence environment, it's more of a traditional dorm experience. Not that the residence itself it looks like a dorm. It's more of an apartment setting. However, you know, living with other students will give you more opportunity to socialize and to be together. All of the apartments at the residence are fully they are equipped with all the furnitures, including linings, towels. There is a study space and a safe for each student. There is also a kitchenette as well as a private bathroom in each apartment. And usually apartments for freshman students are double rooms. So you will be sharing the apartment with just another person. At the residence, there is 24/7 reception and security, and students are asked to show their ID when entering the facility. And there is also quiet hours from 10:30 p.m. and also a no overnight guest rule. I also would like to add that we have 3 alumni assistants who are former students who have been on the program, who graduated and come back, and they live with our students at the residence. So they kind of serve as a resident assistants, and they are on call during nights and weekends, and really they can be of help if students need them for any emergency or any issue. So the homestay instead, it's certainly a more culturally immersive. So students have the opportunity to learn Italian much quicker because they are immersed in a truly Italian environment. So this is usually with a family. Of course, students who choose this option, what I advise is that they are fully aware of and wanting to be living with a family, and kind of engage with them. In this option, the plan also includes 5 home-cooked meals per week from Monday to Thursday. So that means a breakfast and dinner every day except for weekends. And there is also a private bedroom and laundry once per week. All of the families that we've been working with are extremely trusted and families that we've been working with for a long, long time. They're extremely happy to have our students, and they feel very strongly about the opportunities that they can provide to our students. So it's a wonderful opportunity and a wonderful experience if you are looking for that, for a more immersive experience. Okay, so let's talk about academics. The one that you see here, it's a general first-year academic plan, and I will say that this will work for pretty much any liberal arts student. As you can see, freshman students in Rome concentrate heavily on general education courses, which in Rome can be pretty much all fulfilled. All your general education requirements can be fulfilled while in Rome. This doesn't mean that you have to take all of the general education courses that we offer. Of course, our advice is to take at least 2 per semester. But then after that is fulfilled, you can always concentrate on electives or courses that are related to your major. With regards to the requirements of the program, Italian 101 and the first-year seminar are a requirement of the Rome Entry-Year program. So all of our students must take Italian 101, or if they place in a higher level Italian class, that works as well, and the freshman seminar. The freshman seminar is a 1-credit course that aims to provide students with the skills that they need to succeed academically. So and all of these skills that are transferable to other courses. So for example, how to write an essay, how to make a research, and also aims to get students familiar with the resources that are available to them at Temple Rome and then at Temple University. So this is pretty much how a program will look like. Okay, so of course, wellness and safety of our students is the most important thing for us. And we are very proud of the fact that we provide a very comprehensive health insurance that covers all of our students while they are in Rome. It's called International SOS Insurance. And we have a network of very trusted English-speaking doctors who are always available. They are on call, and they even do house visits. We also have an on-site counselor on our staff that is available to students twice a week. But in general, the most important thing is that we really have a team of extremely dedicated staff and faculty who are always available to students and to help students through any issues that they might have. As for our emergency lines, we have 2 numbers. One emergency line that is handled by our staff, and also another emergency phone number that is handled by our alumni assistant, our resident assistant who live at the residence. So in any case, any situation students might need Temple Rome staff attention, there are multiple ways that they can reach out to us and that we can be of help.
Yeah, this is Emily speaking. I was an alumni assistant for 2 years, and they're a really, really good resource for students. They not only have studied in the program, they have, they live here for the entire year. And so they really know the city. So, being available for emergencies is one part of their role here at Temple Rome, but they are really a really good, they're good point people for understanding the city, for getting recommendations on things that interest you, places to eat, where to, go find parks around the city. Like, they can answer pretty much any questions that you have in general. And so I recommend really getting to know them and talking to them. And they're really prevalent in the first year of life. They will help out a lot, and so you'll get to meet them. So I will jump in and talk a little bit about student life. This is one of our cooking classes. It's one of our most popular events. So at Temple Rome, we really want to help immerse you into the Italian culture. We don't just want you to, we want you to appreciate where you are, because Rome is a beautiful city. The language, the people, and that's, again, part of the reason why I'm still here, is because I love living here. So the cooking classes, we have those. We have Chit Chat with Italians, where we bring in people your age from the community, and you get to meet Italians your age. We have calcetto nights, which is like mini soccer matches. We have basketball nights. We have exclusive tours of local monuments and landmarks. So Dean Trachtenberg this semester and last semester, she offered a tour of the Villa Borghese, the Borghese Gallery, which is a really unique experience. She did a dusk tour, so it was, after hours, a really cool experience. We have a tour at the Quirinale, which is the president's house in Rome. We have a tour of the Order of Malta, which, if you don't know, is the keyhole photo that you usually see of Rome, and you get to actually go inside of there. We have gallery of art openings. We have soccer matches, so you can go see a Roma soccer game in real life. All the students are wearing matching Roma gear, and it's a really, really fun event with a lot of good vibes. And we have a lot of volunteering opportunities in Rome. So throughout the semester, we have many opportunities where you can clean around Temple Rome's neighborhood. We have volunteer opportunities at soup kitchens. We have opportunities at the refugee center. So we really, really want to get you out into the community, not just, inside the American university life. We want to really push you to understand Italian culture and to meet other Italians. Life in Rome, again, Rome is such a beautiful city. Compared to many parts of America, it's pretty cheap. You can get by getting groceries for maybe around 20 or 30 euros a week if you're cooking for yourself. So it's really not that bad. There are delicious, restaurants everywhere. There's markets everywhere. If you choose to stay at the residence is actually a block away from one of the biggest markets in Rome, and you can get anything that you can think of, and the food is fresh. It's so good. The city itself is so full of art. Everywhere you go, you will see art and history. I've been here for the last 3 years, and I still will see something new every time I'm walking in downtown Rome. So being here for 1 year, you will not see everything, and you will never be bored. Rome has a large international community. A lot of expats live here, so you can meet people from really all over the world. We've had students who have joined expat groups on Facebook, and again, it's a really large group of people. Asking people to get coffee, having language exchanges. So you can meet an Italian in one of these groups, and they can help you practice Italian. You can help them practice English. You can meet people from France, from Spain, from all over the world. And it's a really, really good opportunity to, build connections with people everywhere. Rome is also a really great hub for travel. Not to say that you shouldn't stay in Rome, because again, Rome is amazing. But during your breaks, you have a week fall break and a week spring break. Maybe you want to, explore other parts of Italy or other parts of Europe. And Rome is a really convenient place to do that. Flights are relatively cheap leaving from Rome to other parts of Europe, and to get to the airport is pretty easy. So transitioning back to main campus in Philadelphia. So after your first year in Rome, you will go back to our main campus. Philly, if you've never been to Philly, is such a fun and vibrant city. I went to Temple, so I lived there for 4 years, and it is like a smaller New York in the sense that it's packed with everything to do like New York is, but there's a lot, it's less overwhelming, I think. And that's just personally my opinion. I really, really love Philly. There's murals everywhere. There's really something for everyone. The orientation on main campus, so when you go back to main campus, you will have to participate in a 2-day orientation before starting your sophomore year classes. And this is because we don't just want to throw you back into life in a larger university setting with resources that you might not be absolutely familiar with. You need to get a tour of the campus. You need to get all these things that you would get in freshman orientation on main campus. And so we are connected with a lot of our colleagues on main campus, and they understand what the Rome program is, and they understand how to give you an easy transition to Philadelphia life. And finally, our housing on main campus. So we have a lot of different options on where you can live in Philadelphia. You may decide to move in with new friends from Rome. A lot of our freshmen are actually moving in together next year. And they have found an apartment in Philadelphia, or they're moving together on main campus. And another interesting option for housing is joining an LLC, and that is a live and learning community. And that means that you are living with a group of people that have similar interests as you, and this could be anywhere from your major to general interest. There's also a global LLC, which one of our she's now a sophomore. She's living in the Global LLC in Philadelphia, and in that particular LLC, she's meeting people from all over the world, a lot of students who are from outside of the US studying in Philadelphia at Temple University. And with these LLCs, you not only meet people with similar interests as you, but you also have an opportunity to go out into the community, to volunteer, to really get involved with these people. So I think that's a really unique opportunity that Temple offers on main campus. So we have a lot of questions that we have from you guys. So we will go through all of them and answer all of them. Feel free to keep typing in the Q&A box. Whoops, I'm sorry. To keep typing in the Q&A box, we will answer everything. So right now, the 2 questions I see, I'll answer right away. Being vegan in Rome. So Rome is a very, they have a lot of options in terms of what to eat. There is a particular place that I'm familiar with. It's called iVegan, and they have, Beyond Burgers, they have tofu, they have egg substitutes, they have pretty much everything that you can think of, and it's actually very, very close to the residence, probably a 10-minute walk. So there are options such as that in Rome. And when you go out to eat in Italy in general, restaurants usually separate meat and seafood and vegetable plates. So you can definitely get around being vegetarian 100% and being vegan. There are definitely plates that you can choose from at every restaurant. So it's very doable in Rome. And if you're going grocery shopping, again, the markets, there are fresh fruits and vegetables everywhere. Everything in season is absolutely delicious. So you can definitely be a vegan in Rome. The best place to watch Eagles games, there are a few bars that have American sports broadcasted, so they definitely exist. And I know students also are able to stream ESPN or whatever sports networks on their computers. Maybe they have their family's account, but students have gotten together at the residence and watched it all on their laptops. So definitely, you're able to do it in Rome. A scuba diving club. So we saw this question earlier, and we do not have a club on campus, but in Rome there are a couple different opportunities and we can always introduce that to you. There are a few different diving clubs around the city or different teams. So that might be something that is interesting for you. And Faye, would you like to talk about class size and internships?
Sure. The class size, you are part of obviously the TRE students. So for your first year, some of your courses will just be with your colleagues in the TRE program, for example, the first year seminar. But other than that, you are part of our community. So you will take classes with all the other students that are here. Some classes are a little larger than others, but generally they are quite small, certainly smaller than they are on main campus. It could range from, we've got some classes that are 3 to 5 students in them and some that are, upwards of 20, 25. But generally speaking, they're on the smaller side here. In terms of the internships, we have about, this semester we have about 45 different internships that are presently ongoing. They're very vibrant and very interesting, but we really do require and really hope that our upper class students, upperclassmen use those that course as a vehicle for themselves at this point. For first year students, it's a little difficult to fit that in. As Emily had said earlier, there are a lot of volunteer opportunities that kind of could take the place of an internship. But if you really are strongly feeling that you need to have an internship, I would say work with Francesca and with our chief academic officer, and we can try and figure that out for you. We're certainly open to the suggestion, but there are so many things that you actually have to take your freshman year that it might be difficult to squeeze that in. But if that's something that's really important to you, we will do our best to see if we can help you out with that.
Great. And then Francesca, we had a couple questions earlier about more specifically the Italian visa process and if students should open a bank account in Italy.
Sure. So as for the visa process, once students deposit, we'll send a package with all the information that walked students through the application process. Generally speaking, there are 2 ways that students can apply for the visa, and those are dependent on where you live. So if you are a Pennsylvania resident, then we'll ask you to apply together with all of the other students who apply from Pennsylvania through our Education Abroad office. So that means that the Education Abroad office at Temple University will collect all the materials, all of the documents, and they will go to the consulate and apply on your behalf. Otherwise, if you do not live in Pennsylvania, you will need to apply through the closest consulate. The process is exactly the same that the Pennsylvania residents follow. But instead of doing through the Education Abroad office, you will have to do it yourself. So you will have to go through to the consulate yourself. In general, there are a couple of letters that the Temple Rome sends to state that you have a health insurance while you are in Rome, that you are part of the program, that you have a housing here in Rome, and then there are pictures and there is an application form. The process overall may take up to 2 months, although in general we see that the consulate can process the visa in usually 4 weeks time. But we strongly advise students to apply as soon as possible because each consulate has a different timeline, a different workload. So we want to make sure that when the program starts, you have your visa and you can legally travel here to Rome. But in any case, these are processes that Temple will help you through, and we'll provide you with all the information you will need to get your visa. As for the bank account, my advice is not to open a bank account in Italy, because that can be kind of a lengthy process. There are banks in the United States, I'm thinking of Bank of America, for example, that have agreements with banks here in Rome, and they have good fees. So in general, using your ATM, your card, your debit card here, withdrawing money, I think that's the way most students do while they are in Rome.
Great. And I have a couple questions just generally about, living in Rome, being a college student in Rome, language immersion. So I'll talk about those points We had a question about freedom as a college student. So you are an adult and we're not watching over you, like to see what you're doing, every single move that you're doing, if that makes sense. You have freedom as a college student. The point of a program such as this is giving you the independence, that, to really push you into that, if that makes sense. If you are moving to a new country, if you're transitioning into a new culture, that's something that it teaches you a lot about resourcefulness, teaches you a lot about really how to tackle certain issues, and that really builds your independence. So, as a college student, we really want to give you the freedom to do that. We want you to travel, we want you to explore the city, we want you to meet new people. I would say the only, things that we really are strict about, for example, is security and safety. At the residence, for example, you can't have overnight guests, and we're strict about that. We're strict about our quiet hours. We're strict about security on campus. So in that sense, that's for student safety. But for you in your personal life and what you choose to do outside the classroom, where you want to explore, what you want to discover, that's completely up to you. And we really encourage it. For language immersion, if you really need to step outside of, I think you need to go out into Rome to really get the immersion that you're looking for. And the one thing I would recommend, if that is one of your goals, is choosing a homestay to live in, because you are living with an Italian family who really wants to teach you the language. When I studied abroad, actually my only regret is not doing a homestay. I had friends that were in homestays, and it was an amazing experience for them. And I actually had the privilege of becoming close with their families, and seeing their home life while they were here in Rome. And it's something that I regret not doing, because one of my goals really was learning the language and being immersed in the culture. So that's one suggestion I have for being immersed. In our Italian classes, they do a really good job of taking you out into the city. So if you really do want to keep learning the language, keep taking Italian. We have cultural labs in our Italian classes. So you choose one cultural lab for each semester, and it brings you to neighborhoods in the city that you might not explore otherwise. We have Italian with dogs, where you're learning how to say commands. We have Italian through film, Italian Pilates. So we have other ways of really helping you understand the language, because we know that you really need to experience it to learn it. Also, we have a question here: what clubs are on campus? So because we are a study abroad university, it's harder to have consistency in clubs. So we don't have clubs that are run every semester, but there's the opportunity to start clubs. This semester, for example, we had a craft club, which I really, I wish I could have been a part of. The students met twice a week on campus, any sort of crafting. It was only for 30 minutes a week, but it was, time that they had to unwind and do whatever crafts they were currently working on in the moment, to just talk. So you can definitely start any clubs that you might be thinking of. There's definitely room for that. Francesca, could you talk about what financial aid can cover? It's another question that we have.
Sure. So financial aid is completely portable to Rome. So any financial aid that you receive, you can use while you are studying your freshman year at Temple Rome campus. So that is usually tuition remission, and also work study. And we do have work study opportunity in Rome as well. We have students working in the library, students working, helping us, in the IT department, and so on. So that is an option. Again, generally speaking, any financial aid that you are eligible to receive through your FAFSA, that is completely portable to Rome. and applicable to Rome.
Great. Just have another question. Can you do residence hall first semester or homestay second semester? Yes, you can. Correct, Francesca?
Yes, and we actually have had students who did that, freshman students who did that. Not because they did not have a positive experience in their first housing, but just for the sake of having the most complete experience, actually. And they were very happy with that.
Yeah. Again, the residents in the homestay, they have different advantages, and so like Francesca said, to have a really complete experience, it's a good way to do it, I would think. One quick question about the average cost of local tours. So, just looking at some different tours, depends on what kind of tours you want to do, if they're at museums or in the city of Rome. They range from 20 to 60 euros, more or less, but we talked a little bit about this in the student life part, but we have so many opportunities with Temple Rome to go on free tours, again, of different places, such as the Order of Malta, such as the Coronale, that you might not see and probably wouldn't see on your own, just because some of the tour guides we know have given us some nice inside looks. So yeah, you can definitely go on tours of Rome, but I would, really suggest taking advantage of the events that we have for our students. And that goes to orientation week as well, when we take you on tours of the city center, of the neighborhood around the campus. Again, we really want to get you immersed into the culture in the city. And I think the last questions that we have are about the coronavirus situation. Faye, would you like to talk about that?
Sure. So currently we have suspended our operations in Rome, so we're not doing any classroom teaching at the campus in Rome for the rest of this semester. And we've sent our students either back to main campus or back to their homes. At least we did. And then last week, main campus has told us all that they're closing. So the students are going back to their homes, or if they do not have a home or they can't get home, they are keeping some of the residence halls on main campus open for international students and for students that don't have any place else to go. And so all the learning is going to be online for the rest of the semester. And that's what's happening across the country, I have to say. It's not like we're unique in this. I think every single university in this country is either doing partial online learning or full online learning. Somebody did ask, how this may affect the fall, and I have to be honest with you that I don't know. I mean, obviously, it is our hope that we will be back up and running much sooner than the fall, and that we will be back this summer to, either welcome summer 2 students, and then of course be ready for you in the fall. But I simply don't know the answer to that. What I can tell you is that it is our expectation that we will be back in the fall. We have no reason to believe that we won't be. But if you do choose Temple Rome and for some reason we cannot open in the fall, that it's not safe to do so, that we would make room for you here on main campus in Philadelphia, and that you would be able to start on main campus. And if it so happens that, again, I am just making this up, is that if in fact we couldn't start in the fall, but we could go back in the spring, then you could come back to Rome in the spring. But it is our every hope and expectation that we will be able to welcome you in the fall, certainly at this point.
Stephanie has a question regarding this. Because of coronavirus, wouldn't it slow down the process of getting the visa? I wonder, Francesca, if you have any insight about that.
Well, we don't really know, but certainly our advice is always to allow 2 months. So to start a process at least 2 months in advance, to be sure that the consulate has time enough to process everything. So again, as soon as you deposit, we'll send you the documents, and that should be really every student's priority to start with that process as soon as possible, as soon as they get the documents. Hopefully hopefully this won't affect the consulate so much.
Okay, and then Facebook group for students in TRE next year. So we have two groups that you should join. One group is for the fall 2020 students. We have a Facebook group for every semester. And the other group is just for the first year students, for Rome entry year students. So once you reserve your place in the program, we will send you the links for both of these Facebook groups, and you can start connecting with other people in the program for next fall. And one last question from Marie, in your opinion, are you seeing good improvements with the measures Italy has taken for the virus? Thea, Francesca, would you like to answer that?
Well, I'll just say from my perspective in Rome, I mean, everybody has to understand that Rome actually was not a hotspot, and we did not have a lot of cases, if any at all, certainly within the last month. What has happened is that the government in Italy is closing down and putting restrictions on what people can do in Italy to make sure that that doesn't happen, right? So that they want to contain it up north where it currently is, and to make sure that it doesn't trickle down into our area. But they are putting in place really pretty stringent guidelines in terms of how people can move about, what's appropriate behavior. A lot of people are working from home at this point. Bars and restaurants are closed down. So I think that all of these measures are certainly going to help, because that's what they're doing now in the States as well. So the States is looking to Italy, what have you been doing? And other countries in Europe are doing the same thing. What have you been doing to help stave this off? And they are looking to us in Italy to see how that is working. And I think it is working at this point, but it's a little soon to tell.
Okay, so if no one has any more questions, we had a lot of good questions, so thank you guys so much for participating, for talking to us, for asking us whatever is on your mind. I think we will end it there, and if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me or Francesca or Dean Trachtenberg with any questions that you might have regarding the program. So,
and I want to say to everybody that this is really such an exciting, wonderful program, and we really hope that you'll join us in the fall.
Yes, very much looking forward to seeing you all in fall 2020.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We hope you have a good rest of your day, your afternoon, your night, wherever you are in the world.
All right.
Ciao, ciao.
All right. Bye. Ciao.